We're good to go. Thank you. All right. Well, I had such a good day yesterday. I volunteered to pray. How's that? So, who wants to lead the pledge? Eeny, meeny, miny, moe. All right. We will call the Grant County Board of Commissioners to order, March 22nd. Noting all three members are present, we will ask you to stand. I'll lead us in prayer, and then Mr. Burton will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Gracious God, our Heavenly Father, as we come to you today, we're grateful for your love and your mercy that endures forever. Our world needs your love and your mercy, Lord, in these days, as conflict rages across the globe, and we think especially in Ukraine, that your grace and your peace would flood men and women's lives, and that there would be a resolution to this very quickly. We have members in our community that are wrestling with the concerns of family members back in the Ukraine, and we ask that you'll grant them peace as well. We pray, Father, that this day you will continue to bless not only our nation and state, but our community, Grant County, that you will give us wisdom as we continue to do the work that's set before us. Let us run this race with gladness and joy because of you. It's in your precious name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please join me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Be seated. All right. First items up will be our claims, minutes, payroll. Have not done any work on our minutes, so we will go specifically to claims. We have a pre-approval from March the 14th. The general invoice edit batch was $201,779.93. The other batch was $40,184.34. Highway batch $33,735.27 for a grand total of $275,699.54. This was a pre-approval, and so we would need a motion to ratify the pre-approval.
So moved. Second.
Motion, Mr. Burton, second, Mr. Mowry. Any discussion on those claims? Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is carried. Our invoice edit reports for today. General invoice edit batch would be $183,094.36. Other batch is $18,697.84, and the highway batch $56,181.49. Grand total of $257,973.69. So this sits before us. We would need a motion to approve the invoice edit reports.
So moved. Second.
Motion, Mr. Mowry, to approve the 322 invoice edit reports. Second, Mr. Burton. Any discussion or questions on those paid? No question on payout. All those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It is carried unanimously. Paid those bills. Now for most recent payroll, payroll number 6. There was a formal approval of payroll. Is that number 5 or number 6? Do you have that in front of you?
Oh, it's number 6.
Okay, because there's a typo there.
Yeah.
So it is number 6.
Yes.
Pre-approval was given on the 15th of March. Gross amount $545,476.28, and that was paid out on the 18th. I gave that pre-approval so they could move forward. We would need a motion to ratify the pre-approval of payroll 6.
So moved. Second.
Motion, Mr. Mowry, second, Mr. Burton. We want everybody to be paid, so we're not even worried about that, right? All those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is carried. All right, communications and board updates. We'll just move around the room. Anything from the auditor's office? Nothing. We have EMA in the room, or central dispatch, or health department? Seeing none. Other committees, subcommittees? Hearing none, we will move on. IT is not even in the room. They're not going to ask for money today. But David stood up and he's moving for the highway report, so.
Update you on a few projects. The Pennsylvania Street Bridge is scheduled to pour the concrete next Tuesday morning, starting at 8. Probably be an all-day pour, as long as the weather holds out. So moving along with that project. I'd still say it's probably going to be May-ish, sometime before it's opened back up. So we got to paint the beams and everything else still underneath, and the approach work and paving. So I'd still say we're still talking May at the earliest before it's open. So
When you say May at the earliest, beginning of May, ending May?
that just depends on the weather. I'm not going to speculate on that.
So it's better to speculate long. than
Yeah,
it is.
I'd say the end of May just to be safe. So.
All right.
Some other things, I would like to purchase a used paver from McAllister Machinery up in South Bend, Indiana. I went up and looked at it a couple weeks ago. The price of it for the machine is $66,000. It's a 2011 cat paver with an 8-foot screed. Right now we have a 10-foot. It's really hard for us to pave some of our roads with that big of a screed. So I'd like to purchase that paver, and in trade they would like to give us $10,000 for our old one, but also they said that they would be glad to try to sell it on consignment, and they charge 10% of what it's worth. I think we can probably get closer to $20,000 for it, and they said basically we can set the price of what we'd like to ask for it. They'll advertise it and everything else. So I'd like to see if they can sell it for us and get a little more money out of it than what trade-in value is, if that's all right.
Just make sure we jump through the proper hoops on that, because when we do public auction, that's not a problem.
Yeah.
But we're kind of in a gray area there because we're not using it as trade-in. So if you don't mind talking with our attorney about
I've
that.
thought about that too, and I thought if nothing else, I'll just put it on that auction site we went to last year and sold 3 or 4 things and go that route to be safe.
But just bounce it off Kyle and see if we have any prohibitions or we get a green light on it.
Okay. The other thing is I would like to set our asphalt bids up for April 18th meeting, if that's all right, for just the hot mix for 2022. I don't want to do the liquid asphalt because I'm still waiting to see if we receive a community crossing grant. If we do receive that money, we'll have to bid that oil out separate. So I would like to wait on that for now, the liquid part of it, if that's all right.
So there's no reason to lock it in now.
No, everybody I talked to said that it's maybe went up 6 to 8% on the asphalt, liquid asphalt. But I'd like to go ahead and get our paving asphalt locked in if I can do that. So
No objection to that, is there?
No.
And then I'll give you a copy of this. This is like our kind of our wish list for our paving this year. A lot will be determined by how much the cost is, but this is just kind of where we'll start and make sure everything's ready if we do receive enough money to do what we want to. So, like I said, this is just on the paving project. So.
27 miles is aggressive, isn't it?
Yeah, but the way I look at it is we've done that in the past, and then what we don't get this year, maybe we'll have it all ready for next year, so we'll be ready to start early, so. And this year, I'm gonna go back the way we did it before, was we'll haul the mix ourselves, so we'll have less money in trucking and everything else, so maybe it'll save us some money.
Anything else?
That's all I got today.
Thank you.
The bridge on 1000 East will probably start late July, early August. And hopefully it'll be done in 120 days, and that road will be back opened up by fall, is what I'm hoping for. So.
When will we, you think, hear about the community crossroad?
They said at road school that it would probably be the 1st of April.
Okay.
So, and I do have the thing on that Crane Pond. Mary gave me a copy of the map and stuff, so I'd like to shoot out elevations and all that to make sure that we can do what we'd like to do. And I guess now there's only one landowner we have to deal with because he bought the other property or
good.
something. So I'll update you when I find some more out on that. So
Yeah, the glitch was that we didn't have their approval to do that, and that needs to be a part of the agreement, or we spun our tires for nothing.
yeah, so yeah, I'll update you on that as soon as I figure out some more on that.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that covers our first section of the agenda. We're ready to go to old business. I see that Tara Blair is with us for the National Center for State Courts. Can you hear us all right, Tara? You're on mute right now. Still on mute. There we go. I think we can hear you now. Would you just remind us again of your presentation, and we'll start a discussion. We can get the volume turned up a little bit. I think we can just... You're just very weak on your voice right now, Tara. We're trying to get some sound up.
Try again, Tara.
Okay, how was this?
Coming in a little bit.
Okay, well, let me know when it's here.
I can't get it anymore.
Yeah, we can't get it any louder, so.
Okay, what if I just speak, if I yell at you all?
That sounds great.
I'll just talk very loudly. This is about the naloxone vending machine for the Grant County Jail that would dispense the overdose death prevention medication to individuals as they are being released from jail. The National Center for State Courts has funding. We've purchased 20 machines to place across 8 states. In Indiana, Overdose Lifeline, they already have had purchased 16 machines that have been dispensed throughout Indiana jails. Grant County was not one of those counties that received one of those, so the National Center was offering that. If that is something that the county would be interested in, we would again purchase the machine and place it in the jail, and then the Overdose Lifeline or the Indiana Department of Public Health would be responsible for stocking it. And again, this is just to get the naloxone in as many hands as possible to prevent overdose deaths. Grant County is on the list of having one of the highest overdose rates in Indiana. So this is just an offer. If the county's interested, we can certainly facilitate that. If not, of course, there's other counties that may be interested.
One question that came up, is it just something that you want to do just at jails, or are you working with the courts? Are they putting it in different areas than the jail?
That's a great question. It actually depends on where the county wants it. Our first option, of course, is a jail because we want it, because we know that people that are released from jail are at a very high rate They're more likely to overdose after being, incarcerated. But if it's not ideal for the jail, we could place the machine in a courthouse, a community corrections, a probation office, a pretrial services office, anywhere that people that are involved in the court system would have access to this life-saving medication.
Gentlemen, do you want to dialogue about this a little bit? I know that we've had some concerns about it being in the proximity of the jail as we're bringing in people that have been drug offenders only to release them and say, here's something that'll help you through your next overdose. I was wondering maybe if the court system might have a better location from that. Judge Spitzer does have the drug court, and it's away from the jail. My first inclination would not to be at the jail, but I don't know if Judge Spitzer would have a better handle on that, or if he would want to kind of manage that or not.
I personally do not favor setting that up at the jail. I think that creates an incentive, if you will, for those who have been incarcerated for drug offenses. And I'm personally opposed to that.
I would concur with Commissioner Warner.
I think right now, Tara, we're kind of getting a consensus that we're not comfortable with the jail. Could you dialogue with Judge Spitzer and see what he might do along this with the lines of drug court?
Yeah, absolutely. Judge Kentworthy was actually my contact there in Grant County. So I can certainly reach out to her to get in touch with him, and we can go the court route. And then again, if that doesn't work, like I said, there's other counties and other states that we can do this. But I really appreciate your time, and I will certainly reach out to the judge and see if we can't get this for the drug court.
I think that may help us and make more sense, especially with, again, those that we bring in. We don't want to necessarily give them a free pass when they come out, and the drug court is working on that very thing, so that may be a better fit than to try and do it at the jail.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, gentlemen, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
You too. All right, next up. Alcohol, Tobacco Commission appointment. We have had a resignation from Stacy Sample. She will be finishing up at the end of this next meeting in April. Please help me, Justin. Did we actually confirm that Mr. Street would be interested in that?
I spoke with him, and he said he would be willing to serve on the board.
Tim Street has been talked about, and Justin did see that he would be willing. I feel good about Tim, and I would be happy to entertain a motion to have him fill the unexpired term of Stacy Sample.
So moved.
Second.
Motion with support to put Tim Street in as the replacement for Stacy Sample. All those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is carried. Thank you. Next up, we've got, is Brad in here? I didn't see Brad. Mark, are you? We have Mark Hairbrand, Amoresco, talking about the asset planner space planning proposal. Go right ahead, Mark. Anything you want to say?
For the record, Mark Hairbrand, Senior Account Executive with Amoresco. I think I might have Brad online, and we presented not only to the county commissioners at the last meeting, but also to the county council a couple times about a strategy to be able to take a look at your buildings, come back and provide an assessment, a facility conditions index, as well as an assessment evaluation And then also look at space planning, was included on the proposal to help you to operate your facilities more efficiently. And that cost, we laid that out, I think it was on page 10 of that report on there. And I'm really here to answer any other questions on it. It was, I felt like it was a small cost to be able to, for everyone to get their arms wrapped around what the conditions are of their buildings, of the buildings that you have, and make recommendations to the commissioners and the council, and show you what you have, what costs you may have coming down the pipe, and then make a decision whether you think that you need a facility or not, or whether you want to invest dollars into your existing buildings, is what it is. So that's really what this is, and it's something that a lot of counties use throughout the state, really to help them to get their arms wrapped around their buildings and understand what they have, what costs are coming down the each year. And it's a very, very good tool, and like I said, a lot of counties use this type of method to understand what their building costs are going to be.
As you know, we've gone around a little bit trying to discuss with the county council. We've talked about, you know, what is going on with these buildings. They have a desire to look at developing a new campus in the future for Grant County. And part of our discussion was we still need to have a good snapshot of what our current facility is for ongoing costs. And I just had an illustrative thought, kind of something that is an example of what we're talking about. Every 4 years, we contract with engineering firms to look at our bridges and tell us, are they structurally sound? Are there areas we need repaired? Are there areas we have to replace completely? And we don't do that with our buildings. We've failed in that area. And so I really feel like it's time that we have a facility condition assessment for our 6 facilities. That way, even if we're going into the process of looking at a new campus for Grant County government, we still are going to have to take care of these buildings until we can exit them, and that could be 2 to 3 years with a building project. So I think recommendation-wise, as kind of a compromise, I would encourage my colleagues to go forward with the facilities condition assessment for the 6 facilities at $19,820, and that we would not enjoin for the space allocation planning analysis right now, but then do the software fees so that we don't need to worry about the square footage stuff right now. We need to more be concerned with the actual structure. And that would be a compromise, and I think that the council would say, yeah, that makes sense. I'm hoping that was what they'll say. So I'm throwing that out and letting you guys discuss this. What you think?
I agree with your thoughts personally on that.
Prepared to agree.
Yeah, not prepared, okay. So we're at a point now where we have enough time. Let me check my calendar. Our first meeting is April 3rd. Is that our first meeting?
4th.
4th. We still would have time to chew on this compromise step, discuss it, think on it, wrestle with it, still come back. We took action of one form or another. Would we still have time to have that on the agenda for the council? Because there would probably be a request for an appropriation.
No, because we would need to send it to the paper by the 1st. for advertisement.
I'm sure there are a couple different ways that we could look at it. But if Ron's not comfortable on making a decision today, I do not want to, press that issue. So I do feel like we need to move forward, and we'll just bring this dialogue back on the 4th then.
Yes.
Okay. We will plan to do that, and I think in talking with some of our colleagues on the council that a compromise like this may work for us, but we'll do some more dialoguing.
Yeah, we do this for a lot of engineering firms, as you know. I know you've met with several of them already about building a new facility. I'd encourage you to ask all of these companies, because they use us to do this. So at some point, you're going to go through this process, whether it's through an engineering firm or a construction firm that you pick to do other construction work. You'll have to go through this process.
We appreciate your time, sir,
Thank you
very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
You want the space?
Yeah.
You've already
We
done
can go
that.
ahead and advertise for that.
Right,
And it's just
so
a
that part
decision that you
wouldn't
guys are gonna
change.
pass it, and if you don't, we
I
just
can't, I don't know
not.
for sure.
Would you feel comfortable with that, Mike and Ron?
I feel like we did it.
What
last
was the
study.
amount?
I think that we did.
And where is it?
It is, it's $19,820, and that would be under contractual services,
In your budget, the commissioner's budget?
commissioner's budget. So by consent, we are going to go ahead and ask the auditor to advertise that as an additional appropriation, and if it fails on the 4th, then they'll remove it from the council.
Understand. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right. Next, and I had to add this to old business, the ARPA money, Americans Rescue Plan Act. We have to do an addendum to our original ordinance in order to declare where we're going to be using that money. It's something that can be updated from time to time, and as I understand, it is the recommendation of the council that the first $10 million be captured as loss recovery money per the Senate resolution and the president agreeing to that. So that first $10 million would be captured as loss recovery money, and then the remainder of the $2.7 million we need to designate as well. At our last meetings, we approved up to $2.5 million for the amphitheater project for Gas City, and they will utilize funds up to that. If we have extra money that they don't use, that would go into this undesignated fund yet of at least $200,000. But I will have our attorney and counsel draw up the addendum that we need to bring, and then probably on the 4th, we'll be able to attach that and assign money. All right, under new business. Well, let me ask again, is there other old business that we need to cover, gentlemen? Under new business, Umbra Parker, the Parker Seafood Chicken parking lot request. Good morning.
Thank you for allowing me time on today's agenda. I am Ambra Parker, owner of Parker Seafood Kitchen. We are located right down the sidewalk at 525 South Branson Street. We had a sneak preview on Sunday that was very successful. And as well as surrounding counties. We did run into a challenge that we have. We have a dilemma in regards to parking, with being the only option in this untapped market, providing seafood options. Of course, the volume of customers to come and patronize our restaurant is going to be larger than what the parking facilities we currently have available that's on the street. So I am asking the Commissioner, I'm asking you to provide access to the Grant County lot, the complex lot that's north of the restaurant, with having access after 5 during the week, beyond the, majority of the employees that park there now, as well as on the weekends and on the holidays when it's not utilized by the county, to be able to help us be more successful with the parking dilemma.
Well, that's exciting that you've got seafood in town. And,
Right.
my wife will be very happy.
Happy wife, happy life.
Any thoughts? In the past, we have had just an agreement with those who've done food service out of there that they could utilize that south portion of our lot as needed. And we can encourage some of our employees to just park a little further north to have a little extra space, a little buffer for you.
I appreciate that.
Makes sense.
Happy to encourage and promote Grant County business.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I'm taking a picture of all faces because I'm sure I'm going to see you here in the next couple of weeks.
All right.
Thank you so much.
With your consent, gentlemen, we will allow her to access that parking. Absolutely.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll have Kyle draw up a memorandum of understanding.
And we'd be happy to sign it. Great.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chris Cunningham, Corrections. Hey, Chris, I made it back.
Yeah, you made it back. Kentucky, I hope it was warm and,
It was warm and I was inside, so I didn't get to.
okay. Well, today's good weather for a duck.
Yeah, that's right.
So, well, first of all, good morning to all of you. I have a couple of appointments. As you know, the commissioners make appointments to the Community Corrections Advisory Board for a section of these. One of the appointments, Jocelyn Whitaker, is a layperson appointment from the commissioners. Her term is expiring, and so she's consented to serve again, and she has been active and done a great job, I think, for us on the board. She would, so it'd be a renewal for her for 4 years. The other appointment for Joseph Combs, we're excited about this one. This is actually appointment by position. So since he's the DCS director, he serves in that capacity as long as he's the DCS director. But I always like to bring those before you so you know who's on the board and you know who's participating. And his name's familiar to you. He used to be the DCS director before. Jeremy Schultz took another position, and we're happy to have Joseph back. His family's from this community, and so I know his dad is here, so we're happy to have him back as well. And so I'd ask you to approve those appointments, and of course would entertain any questions that you might have.
Thoughts, questions, gentlemen?
I would move to approve those 2 recommendations. Second.
We have a motion, Mr. Mowry, to appoint Jocelyn Whitaker and Joseph Combs as presented, seconded by Mr. Burton. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye.
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 Aye. It is done.
All right, thanks much.
Thank you.
Guys have a great day.
All right, Ryan Mallett, Area Plan Zoning Ordinance Amendment.
Good morning.
How's Ryan today?
Oh, not too bad. First thing I've got for you is a rezoning. This is for Brad and Amber Dillon, address 8113 Wheeling Pike, Jonesboro, Indiana. That is out by I-69. They are asking to enter into a written agreement with the county to take 1 acre of their land out of their 13 plus acres and rezone it into a general business. They're doing this, they have a small shop on their farm. It's called the Farmhouse Merc, in which they sell livestock, show apparel, clothing and accessories. If you remember, we had another farm out there, the Nelson's farm, kind of across the street that kind of did the same thing. The written agreement stays with the Dillons, so if the Dillons would sell, move, it would all revert back. Area Planning Commission went through, discussed it, and put it forth with a favorable recommendation.
Do we have, was there any requirements for legal advertisement? Did you have to have a public hearing on this at all, or?
Yes. Yes.
And all those conditions have been met?
Yep.
See that we do have the favorable recommendation. And if we were to approve this, what ordinance number are we looking at?
Number 1.
Ordinance number 1 of 2022. It's an ordinance to amend Grant County Code, section 153, area-wide zoning ordinance, providing for the effective date thereof. And Brian has explained to us that they were using 1 acre for this.
Yes, basically we're going to take and draw a circle around the shop. So that will allow for expansion. I think they're also allowed to do events. I would say that the Dillons have been great on this. This is kind of extended out. We went out, we looked at the shop, we discussed with them exit signs, smoke detectors, fire extinguishers. They were right on it. They got it all fixed up. The other thing is they've been kind of waiting on this. We had, they were hoping to go for their public hearing in February. We got a little glitch. We didn't have enough for a meeting, so they've had to wait a month there. And Brad's been a trooper. He's with us today.
Questions on this process? I would entertain a motion to approve General Ordinance number 1, 2022.
So moved. Second.
Motion, Mr. Burton, second, Mr. Mowry. Any other discussion or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is carried unanimously. And you have a original for us to sign here in a little while?
Yes,
Okay?
I think I have it. Yeah.
Okay.
And with that, thank you, gentlemen. I'm sure Brad's glad. That is something that we know as the Area Plan Commission. We know there are a ton of these out there. It's something I'm hoping in the future that we'll kind of look at and try to address instead of bringing farmers one by one to have to do a written agreement on this. So we are aware of it. It is something that we're going to look at as we get time.
We have another item here.
The next one is we're looking for a recommendation to the Board of Zoning Appeals on a variance request by Mr. Jeff McVicker. Property location is 1240 East 54th Street in Marion. He is asking, he wants to add a 10-foot addition to his detached garage. The required setback is 5 foot. He is asking to go to the property line at 0 foot. I do have a letter from his neighbor that says that they have no issue with doing so. We went out and looked at the property where it is located. The dwelling, the closest dwelling to the garage, the neighbor's dwelling, is about 200 yards away. So this extension would not impede on any other buildings, dwellings, or anything else. As I kind of noted, without opposition, we put forth a favorable recommendation from the staff. And one thing I would note, if you're pulling up the aerial on it, we measured it out. The property lines on the aerial are incorrect. Because it looks like the property line is like on the garage. You know, it's back towards the fence.
So It's the south side where he's wanting to do the lean-to.
Right.
Okay.
Pretty much up to where the old fence is.
Put the lean-to right in there. That property line's up a little further south. This is the building he wants to add to, and this property line's actually a little further south. So the neighbor is,
Yes, they got a letter into me, Ray Hayes, says to whom it may concern, we are okay with Jeff McVicker building a 10-foot storage on the back of his garage towards our property line. So I told Jeff, I said, that may make it a little bit easier, as long as we know the neighbors are okay with it.
absolutely. So we are tasked with sending to the BZA a favorable, unfavorable, or no recommendation. And with his neighbor saying, no problem, I wouldn't see a problem with a favorable recommendation. If we could have a motion to that effect.
So moved.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Burton, for a favorable recommendation, and second, Mr. Mowry. All those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is carried.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Yes, sir. Yes. Is Todd in the room? Todd, are you on the phone?
Todd's on the phone. How are you
Hey.
guys?
Very good. Good to hear from you. I see you have a change order and a payment request.
Yeah, the change order, I'm going to ask that you table that again. And it may end up not actually being a change order. We may engage a completely different contractor to do your fencing for you around the tower compounds.
Okay.
I've been shopping around across the state in on pricing, and found a guy up in Kosciuszko County that was doing fencing for that project, and he had a great price, but he wouldn't come down to Grant County. So I found another guy in Madison County, and I'm talking to him now. I don't have the final deal worked out with him yet, but it's coming close. So we will either, my preference is just to do a separate deal with him rather than running him through as a subcontractor with NPX. So that's why it may just be a separate deal rather than a change order.
All right, we'll wait for you on that, and hopefully look forward to some good information fairly quick, since we've got stuff going up out there now.
Right. So then on the other item is this month's pay request. We've got $141,893.50 for MPX Solutions, and this is on their tower labor contract. And this covers 75% of the labor on this contract. Some of you that have been by the tower sites have seen that we've got two of the towers are basically constructed. We've got about 100 feet worth of tower actually standing, and we'll come back and top them off with a crane later. The third tower was delivered yesterday, and those guys went to work on it immediately, and so it's in place. It's under construction, and what we're going to do is once I get all of the power connected inside all of the shelters to where we can light them, then they will hire a larger crane to come in, and we'll just top them off. They'll just grab those two extra pieces and top the towers off.
So when you say we're paying 75% of the labor out of this, is that last 25 we hold until we're satisfied? Is that the idea?
Well, no, there's actually also, if you'll look in the detail on the sheet, you'll see retainage. So we've got $10,000 of retainage, and So $50,000 left to finish, $10,000 in retainage, or set aside in retainage. So that's what you normally hold until everything works out, you know,
Okay.
final approvals, final inspections and everything.
All right, so the MX or MPX Solutions at $141,893.50 is separated from the professional services at $9,665.54. And I usually look to Jim, but Angie is Jim today. Do you recall which two accounts we're going to be drawing these from?
I do not, I don't.
Actually, Commissioner, Jim had sent an email on March 10th saying prior to payment of the $9,665.54, I suggest that we require the following. There were three separate, he's basically asking for more documentation.
Okay.
And to this date, I haven't received any.
Did that get forwarded, or were Todd and Terry on that email?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, and that's why I was going to handle those separately, because that's a whole nother explanation on the pyramid side of that thing. So I would ask that you go ahead and pay the NPX if you know what fund you're paying it from.
And
I don't recall.
Jim's the gatekeeper of that. He's not with us. I know we have the funding because we have the loan program that is paying for the actual hardware, and then we have some of the CARES Act money that was targeted for the towers. So I know we have the money. I'm just not sure which account it comes out of, but we can approve this. So I'd entertain a motion to pay the MPX Solution invoice.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion from Mr. Burton, second from Mr. Mowry. We will be addressing the MPX Solutions only on this motion. All those in favor of paying that would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's carried unanimously.
Okay, thank you. So on the pyramid bill, you've got different components of that. I think it's the last page if you look, if you have the packets in front of you. There's $5,000 to cover my cost for paying for Todd that I would recommend that you pay for because Todd's a great value to you guys. Although I try not to speak of myself in the third person, but that's a habit I'm trying to break. But then the reimbursables were the issues that Jim had. And as I'm looking at that, and those are high, those are probably out of the ordinary high from what we normally see, and that's why Jim's asking for documentation on it. But as I look at it, and Terry again didn't get the detail to us before he took off out of town, but the travel costs of $1,279, I believe that's basically your delivery fees for the 3 shelters. Because that's way more than what it would cost for just my driving back and forth. So I think that's basically the delivery fee for the shelters. And then you've got down below $3,300 for the shelters. So I think those are just reimbursables related to finishing up and getting delivered the shelters. And then the $86.50 is the tech committee lunches that I normally cater with Jimmy John's, and that's close. You guys, for the other commissioners that haven't been involved with those meetings, the tech committee is representatives from EMA, dispatch, police, fire, sheriff's department, that are overseeing the implementation of this new radio system. we bring them together during lunchtime so that, you know, these guys all have other jobs that they're doing during the day. We bring them together during lunchtime to go over these technical issues, and then I cater it with Jimmy John's, and that's about what I spend on those Jimmy John lunches.
Okay. Question for Angie. With accounting purposes, should we separate the contract fees from the reimbursables and pay them separately, or should we do them all together with this invoice?
I would do them all together.
Do it all together? I guess while we have a verbal explanation, Todd, do we have anything in writing that confirms this? Jim?
No. Yeah, and that's the thing I was checking with Justin with this morning, and we didn't get anything. Terry took off, went out of town to do some of his national speaking deals in Las Vegas this week. So I think that he just didn't get that documentation sent in to Jim prior to leaving town. So if you guys are not comfortable with that, I would say if you would cover Todd's salary and then leave those reimbursables and let Terry apply for those again next month, that'd be fine.
My personal preference would be to separate them, because I prefer, like Jim, to have a paper trail of these are the expenses and the cost. That's me. I don't know how you guys feel.
No, I agree.
Okay. I would entertain a motion to pay the portion of contract fees to Pyramid Consulting in the amount of $5,000, and we'll hold off on reimbursables until we get actual paper explanation on those expenses.
So moved.
Thank you. Motion with support. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Todd, you're valuable, but tell Terry we need paper.
All righty, will do. I appreciate you guys. Thanks.
One other thing, Todd, do you have a second?
Sure.
At one point, we were talking about a ribbon cutting for the southeast tower out there by Upland. Have you had any other conversations with the Ballingers about that?
No, not lately. I don't know if Bob if Bob has or not, but we're close, so we probably need to get on with getting that.
We'll try and coordinate with the Lieutenant Governor then, because I know that she wanted to be a part of that experience. So we'll start on our side and get you some more information then.
All righty.
Thank you much.
All right. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
All right. Next on the agenda. He's not here. The addendum to SRI tax sale service agreement, and this would be an update on the one that has been strung along, and it really surprises me because Mike and I over many years have always said we don't want a just an ongoing contractual relationship. We want to renew it every year, and this one kind of slipped through the cracks, didn't it, Mike? Because we've been using them a long time, but when they wanted to do the commissioner's certificate sale, I said, I want to get an updated addendum. So we have this coming to us describing their services, and that we're asking them to do this sale for us. So it's kind of a redundancy. We do it. They're just about the only ones in the state that do this. So again, I would entertain a motion to sign the agreement with SRI.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Mike Burton made that motion. Mr. Mowry seconded it. Any other description or discussion on this? Just for our knowledge, are we still moving in April on this?
I believe the date is set for April 1st.
April 1st. All right. We will go ahead and sign off on this then. As soon as we say all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it's carried. All right. Justin, we have Memorial Day fund request and some flooring bids.
In your package, you'll see the American Legion sent a letter requesting funds for Memorial Day. There's $1,800 set aside annually for this. They did ask for $2,000. I spoke with Phil Turner about that. He said there's a price increase. $1,800 is fine. This is just their ask.
We have budgeted $1,800 for quite a few years now to assist with the flag project for Memorial Day. And I don't see it as a problem for us to maybe bump that up for the 23 budget season, but we're pretty much locked in. We can't appropriate any money for that right now. So I would entertain a motion to release the $1,800 to the American Legion for the flag memorial.
So moved. Second.
Motion, Mr. Burton, second, Mr. Mowry. All those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is carried. What else we got, Justin?
Next thing in your package, you'll see there are 3 bids to carpet the 4th floor of this building here. You're looking at Morel's came in at $18,276. Kyle's at $23,153.40. And Staggs came in at $18,631.87. And that's for the entire 4th floor.
This is a project that we've been working on since the removal of EMA to the other building, and we started it on the 6th floor. We've moved through the 5th floor. 4th floor is our target at this particular time. Did we get any advice?
I did not get a hold of
Okay.
Kyle.
I am not sure, gentlemen. I mean, we've gotten the required low bids. I do not know if there are any caveats as to whether we can take, we have one bid that's within 2 bids that are within $400 of each other. I don't know if you want to just go ahead and award the lowest bid at this time, or you want to seek any type of direction from our attorney and see if it's pretty much apples to apples. These guys are not throwing in different options, so it's a base price. I'm willing to do whatever you want to do.
Well, I would say all 3 companies are reputable. I would say go with the lowest. I would agree with that.
All right. The lowest is the Morel floor covering at $18,276. We would need a motion to approve that bid and get them working on the 4th floor.
I make a motion, we award the bid to Morel Floor Covering in the amount of $18,276. Second.
Motion with support. Mr. Burton made the motion. Mr. Mowry seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is carried. We have a lot of cosmetic things that are going on, not only in this building, but we continue to work on the courthouse, on projects that pop up. I'm actually hoping that we get to the point where we get the dialogue to have that inventory of all of our buildings, and that'll help us in a transition process. So let's move forward on the 4th floor.
get the ball rolling.
All right, any other new business on your radars, gentlemen? We are postponing the policy change proposal on the sick bank. We are also postponing the parcel data request for Powers Engineers. That was for GIS information. Those will come back to us at a different time. Are you aware of other business we need to do?
I'm not.
Okay. This is a public forum, and if you'd like to address the Board of Commissioners, we will invite you to step up, present your name, your address, and your concerns or comments. How's Don today?
Pretty good. Not sure what happened. I called in last week and he put it on the agenda and apparently didn't make it.
Thank you, sir.
Don Wimmer, President Wimmer Land Surveys, Post Office Box 547, Marion, Indiana. I'm representing Cole and Carly Chandler. They would like to split the house off the property. This is a situation where area plan only allows 3 splits out of the parent tract, and this would be about the 10th split. And eventually they would like to sell their house and possibly build back farther on the other part of the property. This is located at 8729 East, 750 South, which is straight south of Upland. Basically, we need permission from the commissioners to go forward the area plan.
Right. Are there any other things that you need to tell us? Because I'm going to probably pull up Ryan and ask him to give us some info as well.
Not really. I said basically they need to separate their house and do the ordinance. It's got to go through the subdivision control.
And that's done at the area plan level?
Yes. So we stop here at the commissioners, then we go to drainage board before it can be presented area plan. They'll be presented at the main meeting due to the workload of the April meeting. The area plan.
Any other questions for Don at this point? Okay. Ryan, can you come up and just kind of direct our thoughts a little bit on this too?
This would actually be a Brenda question. I have not, Don's been working with Brenda on this. So this is the first time you can see that.
Okay. So the concept is that I'm looking at the GIS, and we've got a really big parcel of land, and they want to split this parcel. Is that?
Yeah. Yes, they're splitting a little bit off surrounding the house. And I say eventually they would like to sell their house and maybe build back on the back part.
Where all the trees are in the forest.
Yes,
So as you're asking us, are many times, you know, we do the favorable, unfavorable, or no recommendation. Is this something you need us to endorse?
yes.
This move?
Yeah. I guess we're asking for favorable to go on to the area plan.
Thoughts, gentlemen? of folks that live right around the area, and I would assume that they have no problem with it either.
Letters have been sent out to the adjacent property owners. Commissioners should have gotten the correspondence for it. Drainage Board got correspondence. Town of Upland got correspondence. This is all part of the, everybody's invited to give public comment.
Okay.
So,
And that will happen at the area plan level?
those, I've already sent the letters out. They should be coming into area plan sometime before the area plan meeting.
Okay. Looking at the scope of the area, I'm not opposed to a favorable recommendation.
No, I'm fine.
Would someone like to make that a motion that we give a favorable recommendation to this?
So moved.
Mr. Burton made the motion. Mr. Mowry seconded. All those in favor would say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it is carried.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Yes, sir. Do we need to sign anything for you or just?
Once the final plat has been approved, I'll bring it back for signatures.
All right. Thank you much. Anyone else to address the Board of Commissioners today? We didn't even need the deputy sheriff in here. He didn't show up, did he?
He's messed up.
Oh, we were anticipating an individual who has challenged free speech on the courthouse before, so that didn't happen. That's all right. Okay. Anything else? I believe the ladies told us our next meeting is April the 4th.
Yes.
All right. Hearing none other, we will be in recess till April 4th. Thank you.
Yes.
Tonight?
Yeah. Yep, that's nice.
Pardon?
That's nice. April 4th.
Okay.
Yeah, you gotta have a commissioners meeting and then area plan. Okay. I didn't see you back there.
I snuck in. I was late. When you're late, you gotta sneak in.
He was late for his interview.
Was he really?
I hired him.
Oh, my goodness.
He was 2 days late.
They still hire me.
I hired him anyway. How you doing, Tim?
Looking forward to retirement.
I understand. There is life after retirement.
I hope so. It's not gonna be sitting in a commissioner's desk. I can tell you that.
I'm sure Mr. Rogers will be back to talk to us.
I'm sure.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yes, sir. You like that?
No.
I got that from the Governor's Commission on Public Safety. They figured to put that at our desk so we can write notes.
Yeah, I've been in several.
Thank you for your time, gentlemen.
He was all right.
He was, he already made good decisions. Made very amount of decisions.
Yeah.
Hey, Joe,
Good, how are you? Good.
how's that wine?
Well,
He was called in.
Morning.
That's right.
I'm Jace with the News Herald. Do you, both of you, have a couple minutes to answer the questions?
I'm just.
So I will at some point write a story about the building situation in the county and what's going on. So I guess my first question is, are you able to say what your concerns are about buying the building assessment from your residents?
Yep.
Yeah. No, we're just not in a position right now to grant a approval. We're in the process of taking a look at
some alternatives, some options.